So I decided to stop my college education and move to Adil permanently because my dad never taught me anything.
Okay.
We
Yeah.
really understood it deeply, which we couldn't have done if we were just reading about it.
And he will take it out on you. I have been yelled at multiple times. Rohit and I just recently got a salary increase.
It's not just about the numbers. It's not about the sales or the SQs that you keep. It's also about employees.
We are more geared towards we're celebrating Indian tradition.
Yeah.
Getting into the family business is something that we always had planned.
Maybe what Rishi is saying has substance.
Indian people's tastes are changing, their preferences are changing. So I want to be sure that as a business, we're always receptive and adaptive.
I'll tell you something even worse. I'm in an office where my boss follows me home.
Yeah.
You know? So if there's work pending, he will call me from my room.
Hello everyone. So today we are with Finance World magazine. We have Hrishikesh and Rohit with us. Of course, you are quite aware of all of them, what they do, but let's hear their journey from them. So starting with you, Rishi, could you just walk us briefly about how did you join the business? When did you join the business? How does it feel like being a part of such a great family business over here?
So I started when I was 13. I started off as a cashier. Uh, in the beginning, I had to only work in the first half of the day for a couple hours, but then eventually I had to work 8-hour shifts, which would come towards the evening. And my father has this ideology that the customer is our god. You know, it's the only way to truly like get the essence of Adil. He thought it would be best to start me off as a cashier, and eventually I was promoted to become a sales associate, where I started handling B2B. I started approaching catering companies. I started approaching other supermarkets, restaurants, and I still remember being the 15-year-old kid just roaming around in the Dubai heat because it was summer holidays for everyone, and approaching restaurants one by one. And just a small 1,000 dirham order for a month, I had to follow up and work so hard, which really taught me the value of money. Eventually, after that, when I joined college, I was promoted to handle purchasing as an executive.
Okay.
So I would be making POs, I would be making, I would be negotiating, at least conducting the primary negotiations with the supplier, gathering the rates, mostly admin work. And after I joined college, I got a little bit of a break. And, halfway into college, I figured that I was enjoying more working for the
Working here.
company.
Yeah.
On top of that, I was learning much more. Majority of the things that, at least in the first semester in college, when the teacher was teaching us basic business practices and everything, I was already up to date. So I found out that maybe the pace that I'm learning at
Over here
the
is not
college,
making sense,
yeah,
yeah.
it's not as fast
Yeah.
as I was getting the experience in Adil as. Uh, so I decided to stop my college education and move to Adil permanently. And that is when I became one of the retail executives. So, speaking to handling day-to-day operations more, speaking to, our shopping charges, customers, etc., etc. My role was pretty much to I would start my day off as a purchaser, and then I would end it, somewhere in the graphics department. So because my dad never taught me anything,
Okay.
he just
Learn on your
same
own. Learn on the
same way
go.
he taught me how to swim.
Okay.
He just picked me up and just threw me in the water. It's like swim. So that's how I learned. And eventually, just a few years ago, or 4 or 5 years ago, I was promoted into handling HR, legal. I became the head of procurement, and because I was deeply involved in the excise registration process and the government VAT compliance, I also started handling tax compliance.
Okay.
So that is my journey in
So it's
Adil.
been bits and pieces of all of them. What about you, Rohit?
Again, our journeys are quite similar. I also started working as a cashier when I was about 13 or 12 for my summer vacations. Doing the usual, interacting with customers, taking the money, depositing in banks, etc., etc. Uh, Eventually, after I finished college, and I joined the business full time, that is when I would say my actual career started. Everything else was just work experience. You know, it wasn't actual work. Once I joined the business, I started looking after a lot of things. But the first thing I started looking after is Rishi's old department, which was purchasing.
Yeah.
So it's just the elder and the younger sibling
Yeah.
thing.
Exactly. The
Yeah.
pass me down doesn't just apply to clothes.
Yeah.
You know, it also applies to jobs.
That's a good one.
Yeah. So, you know, as of now, what I look after is all of the day-to-day operations of the business. That also does include B2B right now. It also includes import and export, and as well as retail, a few select parts of purchasing as well. So, you know, it's been a tremendous journey for me, and I've been very lucky to have a very wide range of experience. Same as Rishi, you know, he was also able to interact with B2B sales. He was able to interact with you know, retail customers. He's able to talk with our suppliers. He's able to, you know, he's able to talk with employees. He's able to do it all. And because our dad forced us to do so many,
Each of it. Yeah.
we really you know, understood it deeply, which we couldn't have done if we were just, you know, reading about it. You have to do the job to actually understand it.
Yeah. That's
So what do you think was the reason that you guys started as the cashier? It was like, let me first have trust on you whether you can handle the cash.
No, it was
How it?
actually to get a raw experience of retail. You know, you're right there as a cashier. If you mess up, the customer is already having a bad day and he will take it out on you. I have been yelled at multiple times. I have had people call the shop and, you know, the customers.
Complain about you?
No, not me. He's like, hand the phone to the kid handling the cash register. And the customer would tell me that because of you, I paid, you know, so and so extra because you mispunched it, you know. And in the end of the day, our job as a business is to keep the customer happy. And the only way you can keep them happy is you don't take the complaints as criticisms, but as a way to grow. And I would say it played a major role in my personal development as well. You know, taking understanding that, you know, it's helped me both in professional and personal life. You know, where people would say something, but it's not really a criticism. I would take
Impacting
it
you,
as.
yeah.
Yeah, I would take it more as, you know,
Feedback.
yeah, a feedback to improve myself. And I think that raw experience is what really I think changed my trajectory and, you know, affected my trajectory to pay more attention to, you know, to grow more fondness, to grow more fond towards the business side of the family.
So were you hesitant? Like, you know, as a 13-year standing as a cashier over there.
First day I was terrified. Then there was a time when the software also got upgraded in between. The cash register software was upgraded in between, and I firsthand understood the frustration the customer feels just waiting over there, you know, and bags just being left over there. How incomplete training compounds to a bigger loss, and you know, another thing I learned is that there is a massive gap in communication with the management and the employees. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's some hierarchy issues we had to, and you know, obviously being on the receiving end of all this, it was a very humbling experience. But also it made me realize that this is a field we could improve on. You know,
So did you actually feel that difference coming, like, you know, from the management, there was a certain decision passed, whereas when it came to you, it got modified or you weren't clear about it, which you ended up discussing it later?
So it actually took a while for that. It took at least 5 years. I had to prove my dad. No, my dad never gave freebies. He never gave freebies. Even
So you were like a
recently.
regular employees to him when you were in the
Yes,
office?
Yeah,
absolutely,
like
absolutely.
intern.
as a matter of fact, Rohit and I just recently got a salary increase, and we had to negotiate with dad. You know, and dad has this way where when he negotiates with someone, he makes sure that, you know, he's got his head by the neck.
yeah.
And Rohit and I have been ragdolled ever since we were negotiating pocket money. Right? He's like, you want money, come to work. You know, and that's the way. So it was always win towards his side. But I think successfully now we can say that after winning that part of the negotiation, we could say that, yes, proudly that.
So you
okay,
went
yes.
home saying today I got a salary increment.
Yes,
It's
I'm
from my
so
dad.
proud. We're
Rather
actually
than
quite
the
proud of
salary,
ourselves.
it's more surprising that we even were able to negotiate.
Negotiate
Yeah,
that bit
you
of
know,
it.
yeah.
Because it's a daunting experience.
Yeah, true.
You know, asking something from your dad is a daunting experience. Now imagine demanding it, right? You go up, we made presentations,
Yeah.
we really proved our point and drove it home. And
Yeah.
that's when he decided as a businessman to increase our salaries, not as a father.
Yeah.
You know?
Ever has he taken a decision as a father for you in the company?
No, never, 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 never. There was no favoritism. If I was, I have had a boss who was not my father as well, and that boss would be hard on me too. So it, I know it was a very simulated environment that I was living in. I know there was always a safety rope,
Yeah.
but it really did teach me a lot about
So you were in
humility.
an office where you can't resign.
Yeah, exactly. No, I'll tell you something even worse. I'm in an office where my boss follows me home.
Yeah.
So if there's work pending, he will call me from my room.
Yeah.
Why is it not done?
Why is it
Yeah.
not done? Bring your laptop.
And do it right now.
Do it right now.
So happened to you.
So many
So
times.
many
I've
times,
lost
too.
count. I've
Countless,
lost count.
yeah.
I've lost count.
That's crazy. Cool. Can you share a little more about how did you feel like getting involved into the business, and how do you envision taking it ahead?
For me personally, and I know for Rishi as well, getting into the family business is something that we always had planned. Like even when
It's
we
in the
were,
blood. It's in the blood.
It was
Yeah.
almost in the
So it
blood.
was always by choice.
Always by choice, and like as early as when we were kids only, like 6 7 years old, we knew that this is what we want to do eventually.
Yeah.
And obviously, dad comes from a different philosophy. He started from one store and he expanded to what's 50 stores now. For us, it was not only about preserving what we have, but we also want to make sure that we're continuing that trajectory. So for us, growth is definitely one of the most important things.
Great. So, when you say growth, is there any specific verticals that you plan of expanding into, or it's overall holistic as a business?
It's very holistic as a business because it's not just about the numbers. It's not about the sales or the SQs that you keep. It's also about employees. So like Rishi had briefly mentioned, for a lot of years we were facing a lot of problem with employee retention, employee complaints. But over the course of 2 years, we have completely transformed. So as of right now, the benefits that we offer to even like the cashier. So every single employee at Al Adil as of today gets free lunch and dinner. So
That's
they
amazing.
don't need to worry about their food. Whatever money that they can save from their food, they can send it back home or spend it however they wish. Even as like on a HR level, we are much more friendlier with our employees. We provide them with a lot more opportunity to
Much
grow,
more empathetic.
but much more empathetic. We provide them a lot more opportunities to grow within the company. If someone is a cashier today, doesn't mean that they'll be a cashier 1 year, 2 year from now.
Okay.
You'll see them in the office taking, very important tasks.
Yeah.
So we definitely,
Also recognizing hard work.
Yes,
We
Yeah.
started
for
doing
sure.
that too.
Lovely.
Handing out appreciation certificates and unique accomplishments. Throughout whatever it may be in the company. It might be the fastest implementation of whatever new procedure we've
Okay.
made.
Most improved.
Yeah, most improved. So such unique, achievements.
Any other sort of a fresh perspective that you've gotten in, because we have recently seen Aladil digitizing a lot of stuff. You
Yes.
moved into e-commerce, you moved into quick commerce. Your GT and all, of course, they were all set, but then apart from the primary and secondary market focus, you started your focus towards more of quick commerce. So how do you see that engraving here? How do you see that growing? And how do you see that as, was it an additional source of business growth that you pumped into Aladil, or it became more of a complementary sort of a revenue generation scheme?
Well, a little bit of both, but for me personally, because this was something that I was looking after, for us, quick commerce was something that we knew that we had to get into, but there are very few companies that have the technical expertise to pull it off. So what we just focused on is how do we make our e-commerce better and how do we make our relationship with our customers better. So we have very robust partnerships with all of the major aggregators in the UAE, including Noon, Talabat, InstaShop, Kareem,
El
and
Grocer.
El Grocer. So they were really, really impactful for us to ensure that we're getting deliveries to the customers in 30 minutes. So before it was 1 hour, is the target that we had set, but now we're trying to get it done in 30 minutes as well. We have, you know, it was a very, it was a challenge to get the operations of it right, because you need to ensure that your picking team is, very fast. You need to make sure that the order processing time is very low. So it took a few years for it to catch on, but as of right now, when it comes to operations, we are, without a shadow of a doubt, the best when it comes to it. Our order preparation times for our stores is the lowest on any platforms, whether that be Noon, El Grocer, Talabat. We ensure that the total order preparation time is below 17 minutes as of December 2024. And we're trying to get that even lower. But again, it was very crucial for us to remain operationally efficient, and that's the results that the benefits we're seeing today, because how it typically works is once a customer places an order online, let's say he really likes the item, he will definitely come to the store to see what else we have to sell.
So it became more of like a lead gen source as well for you.
Exactly,
So
exactly.
it was complementing your overall business
Yes,
alongside letting you expand into different verticals.
exactly,
Right.
exactly.
When it comes to the logistics, so as you were saying that you have made it such an efficient one that you have gotten into a 17 minutes per order.
Yes.
And then so what I'm understanding is like you've kept both of them separate. The store facing ops is completely different, whereas the quick commerce ops is completely different, or they overlap.
They do have a little bit of an overlap
Okay.
because we rely heavily on our store employees to do
Okay.
this, So a store employee is
Is very
also
well aware of.
exactly. He's very well aware of, okay, this is coming from the Adil e-commerce website. This is coming from Noon. Okay, I know that Noon, they need the order to be confirmed within 1 minute, otherwise they'll call me. Like, they've already gotten into the groove of, how work is to be done.
Great. So how do you see the future e-commerce as well as the GT business, that with the general trading business in UAE?
It's definitely a symbiotic relationship, I would say. You need one. I mean, I wouldn't say you need one, but they definitely do complement each other.
Okay.
So, we typically view it is, if a customer wants to purchase something from Adil, a new customer, he's never even heard of Adil before, why should he give it a shot? Like, he doesn't want to buy 50 dirhams worth of groceries. He just wants to buy maybe a dal or some rice, just to try it out. They have the option to do that. They can go to any aggregator, purchase it. They'll get the delivery in 15 minutes. They can make it immediately. If they really like the quality of our products, they're free to try all of our spices, our papads, pickles, namkeens, which is only available in our store.
No, it's really surprising. Like even I've noticed some of the times different nationalities walking into your stores. Like I've seen Russians also
Yes.
who are coming into Al Adil and buying things.
Yes.
So it's I don't think it's only a Indian centric
Yeah. It's
genre of audience that you're catering to anymore.
That is.
now I think it's actually Rohit and I have changed our perspective towards how we want to present the business. We
Yeah, how do
don't
you
think of
perceive
it.
customers?
Yeah, how
Yeah.
we no not just perceive customers, but in general how we present the
Okay.
business. We don't consider it as an Indian supermarket type.
Hmm.
We are more geared towards we're celebrating Indian tradition.
Yeah.
And tradition is
So maybe something
major.
like India for all.
Yeah, India
Yes,
for
yeah.
all, or like something. The best way to introduce your culture to someone
Yeah.
is through food, right? And obviously, if you spices and rice and all this stuff, there's a different preparation methods. Good thing is that we have a lot of finished goods as well that are branded items that gives a good taste of India. And to add to that, we have a modest customer base of the UAE locals as well, who regularly buy from us because of our spices, and they love our pickles and our basmati rice that we specially import.
Okay, lovely. So let's move to certain challenges that you have faced on the way while transitioning was happening, you entering into the business. It's like you are the architects of the next generation for Al Adil. So how did you find this space? how did you started making your own viewpoints? And like, of course, one of the major points that you have touched upon already was that, like, since you started from the ground up, you knew in and out of it. But then how did you started making space as now being the management and not an employee just anymore?
So, firstly, we had to prove ourselves
Yeah.
in the professional world.
Yeah.
So,
Which you did it just as a regular employee.
yeah, which I
with
had to
your
do.
increments
Yeah,
and
yeah.
your promotions.
Yes, actually. So I remember there was this. We were getting multiple complaints from the warehouse, and Dad wasn't, listening to me. That hey, there's room for improvement over here. So I'm like, okay, Dad, I'm gonna give it to you in writing. Within 1 year, I'm gonna make this warehouse so robust and so efficient that you will not recognize it. And I gave it to him in writing with the time.
Okay.
And he's like, fine, this is your make or break opportunity. You go. I'll give you the free hand. Go do whatever you want. I'll support you.
Okay.
That was the most, that was the most
A challenge that you
important
took,
part.
yeah.
Because you really have to earn his respect for him to support you. So he's like, fine, let me see what you're made of. And the warehouse was it was crazy town, because all the wanted employees we would have, right? They would be, as a punishment, they would be sent to the warehouse.
Okay.
And they would never prepare the order on time. They would have this attitude like, go do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Like, imagine the Wild West. Yeah, that was a warehouse. The trucks would reach our shop at 10 o'clock at night. And I would get calls, from the employees that, sir, the
It
truck
has
has come
reached, yeah,
now,
yeah.
and we're closing the shop. And now I've made the warehouse in such a way that our goods are delivered before 12 p.m., like as in
Wow.
12 afternoon.
Like it's enough.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. There was just one person along with me. There was one more employee. His name was Azim Khan. He was a security guard. It was just me and him versus the whole system. So first 2 months, first 3 months was just such a struggle because I used to be in the heat, standing and making sure that the employees are doing everything. There were times where I would finish my shift at 5 or 6. I would go home, eat dinner, and I would be keeping a few employees back to make sure that the loading is done on time. And I would come back to the warehouse at 11 at night to make sure that
To
the
make
warehouse,
sure it's done.
yeah, to make sure it's done. So after seeing all that and after seeing that change, that's when my dad started saying, okay, maybe what Rishi is saying has substance. And that's when he would start considering my points.
Okay. And what was the changing point with you?
For me, it was much more gradual than that. The thing is, for me, like work has always been a collaborative effort. Not only just, you have your employees, but you also have your own family. Like my mom has a complete different viewpoint
Yeah.
about a particular problem I might
Yes.
face. My brother will have a completely different viewpoint. And my job is how do I navigate between these two? I obviously, when I was just starting off, I used to work right under my dad. I was like a personal secretary to him. So I kind of understood, his way of thinking, how he wants things to be done. So I kind of realized when I should tell him the truth and when I should lie to him. So
Yeah.
you have to use it very strategically. So the thing
So I
is,
think while the time you were born, he already set cashier.
Yes.
Then you're supposed to enter into purchase.
Yeah.
Yes.
Then you're gonna get promoted as my personal secretary.
no.
Yeah.
Then you would do legal, then you would be a secretary.
Okay.
Yes.
So you understand each bit of a business.
Yes.
And then
Yeah.
you come as my personal secretary. So
Yeah.
start joining all the points.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
yes, yes,
Okay.
yes.
So you got
Yeah.
your perks of Al-Adil during your school, during your university.
Well, no, not really. I kept it hidden. As much as possible, I used to keep it hidden.
Okay.
Uh,
You preferred it that way, or it's the
I
family
actually
that preferred it?
No,
that way?
I preferred
You
it.
preferred it that
Yeah,
way, okay.
I've preferred it because
What about PTMs?
PTMs were PTMs were very bad.
They were okay
I
for
would-
me.
it was bad for me because
Okay.
I don't know. Even with my dad, right? I don't have for some reason I like doing things my way.
Yeah. Okay.
So even with my dad, right?
Yeah.
Like we would clash a lot. And same it would go with the teachers. Right? When she would say that, okay, this is how you're supposed to write it, you're supposed to write verbatim. I'm like, why verbatim?
Okay.
If I just need to get the idea and I just need to show the examiner that I
Yeah.
understand it.
Yeah.
And because of that, and other than that, I would just be a naughty kid, I would like running around the class. I would make a lot of mischief.
Yeah.
And when mom would come to the PTA, I would feel a little, relief. But when my dad would come, definitely,
Yeah, to
I
the
knew
center.
I was done at home.
Yeah.
I was cooked at home. So yeah,
And it was chill for you?
I was fine for me. Yeah, I never really
yeah,
had
Because
any
you were the
major
studious
problems.
one?
I
yeah.
wasn't, look, I can't say I was the
Or you were
studious
playing
one.
smart in that?
I was playing smart, If there was
You're like,
something, they never caught me for
I'll be
it.
the diplomatic one. I'll be yes for you and then yes for you as well.
Exactly. And I
Yeah.
always made sure to only bring my mom, and I only made sure to make her meet with the teachers that actually liked me.
Yeah. So, as you said that you have moved your business to more of digital, you have expanded new verticals of business, not just the regular one, but in under general trading also, you are working more on the B2B side of it. So, how has the shift towards getting it digitized or moving towards a digital economy, getting that as a major chunk of what your business is, been internally? Or any hurdles that you have faced?
So, firstly, when I started, it was my idea to open a website, and it was in 2016 or something. And I remember my dad and I, we were just going shop checking. We would check shop for first half of the day, and then the second half of the day we would be in the office. And I remember telling my dad that we're actually way behind. People are already ordering online. We need to start making a footprint. And he's like, no, brick and mortar is the way. And eventually, after a lot of fights, after 2 years of continuously fighting and making a point, he's like, okay, I think you may have identified a good gap here.
Yeah.
Let's make an online website. And the first website we actually made was a disaster, because we had no experience. We had worked with a developer who was good at selling, but he wasn't good at developing
Getting it done.
the
Yeah.
website. Yeah. And eventually, the project just became stagnant, and that's when Rohit came in and he took it up from
Yeah.
there.
So for us, like by the time I joined, we knew that digital had to be our focus, but we weren't sure how it should be done. So that's when I would, set up the meetings, pick the developers, see which developers would be best for us, which ones to eliminate. And it was a gradual process. It took actually many years for it to go. And we launched our application for App Store and Play Store less than 1 year
Okay.
ago. So if you think about 2016 till now, it's a quite a long time to develop the app. But the good thing is that once we did get it done, we got it done perfectly. We have very good partners right now. We have very good developers. We're very happy with them. So it was definitely a lot of hard work from their part as well. And we were able to manage expectations. My dad was able to manage his expectations, and we were able to have much clearer defined goals, about what it is that
So
we
now
want
you're
to
happy
achieve.
with the decision that you guys
Yes,
made?
yes, yes.
Mm-hmm.
So you moved to
Absolutely.
quick commerce first, or you came up with the website first and then gradually went to it?
Website, and then we knew that quick commerce was the future.
Yeah.
We knew that we had to get into it eventually because that's what everyone around
Actually,
us is
COVID
doing.
was a catalyst.
COVID was
Yeah.
actually the biggest
COVID was the
catalyst,
catalyst.
yeah.
COVID was a catalyst.
So there was a time, during
How were you
COVID.
handling during COVID?
Sorry?
Your logistics, because there was a huge disruption.
It was, especially the first 3 months were very, very brutal.
Yeah.
When you
And
saw.
especially you are importing.
Yes,
So
exactly.
that India was crazy that time.
Yes.
Luckily, the government supported us over
The
here.
export?
Yeah, no, the import.
Okay,
Import.
the
They
import.
gave us. They shaved off a little bit of the duty.
Okay.
Yeah, so it made importing the goods a little more cheaper.
True.
Yeah.
And there was a time where a lot of panic buying was happening. So, we were listed with all of the major aggregators, and, we would face a lot of complaints of stock not available, or, for whatever reasons, we were able to manage it through that very difficult time. We were very lucky enough to have a good warehouse with a good holding capacity. So we knew that
The warehouse that he fixed.
the warehouse that
Yeah.
he fixed,
Warehouse that I-
So that came to the picture then.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely,
yeah. It did.
I'll tell you. So for us, 2024 was the biggest year yet, because it's the combination of all of these different factors coming together. The logistics.
It's like an orchestra.
It's an orchestra. The logistics is there, which is why we're able to get the goods, which is why we're able to deliver it to the customers, we have such a strong supply network, which is why we have good logistics.
Yeah.
It's like a cycle.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
Like everything in harmony,
Yes.
you know.
Yes.
So they played well. So basically, it was COVID that brought in the major turning point in terms of quick commerce. So now, how do you see your business in terms of the retail, as in the general trading, and your quick commerce and the digital side of the business?
Well, they're two separate part of the business, but they're treated as one.
Yeah.
We have a lot of partnerships with a lot of wholesale customers, whether it be e-commerce customers, whether it be supermarkets, hypermarkets, five-star hotels, catering companies. That all is one aspect of it, and the other aspect is retail, where it is focus on quick deliveries, retail store operations, product availability. So they both are separate, but you need both.
So is there any plan of expanding businesses into new genres, verticals, or new markets?
So
We are.
one thing my dad always told us, rather than trying to diversify, you should specialize.
Okay.
So that is our key focus. So our whole identity is India.
Yeah.
Like we are the new Indians. So there are Indian people's tastes are slowly changing. We want to be sure that we're adapting to those. And in terms of expansion, we're not really looking for physical expansion as of yet.
Okay.
But there are definitely a lot more other ways we can expand.
So the most challenging milestone that was reached as a group, if you would want to talk about it?
Most challenging milestone as a group, I would say, I would be able to explain it a little more through a personal a more personal perspective.
Yeah.
For me, what happened is for 2023, late 2023 or 2023 New Year had a huge effect on my dad uh, for some reason. And, in the starting week of 2024, he's like, okay, guys, I think I want to start letting you guys run the operations.
Okay.
So 2024, Rohit and I started handling everything independently, right? And obviously, we were very scared because there's always been a boss over us, and it could always be chalked up, like anything that didn't work, I could just blame.
Yeah.
Oh, dad didn't want, dad didn't support me, or
There's somebody
dad
on
didn't
top
want it.
who's taking care, who's
Yeah,
putting
who's-
things together.
Yeah, who's putting things together on, and that too. Apart from that, and then I would say there was no responsibility of my actions, because obviously
You're
dad
asked to
would
do it, you're
silently-
doing it.
Yeah, my dad would silently
Oversee that.
yeah, oversee that, and innovation was also not there.
Yeah.
And then 2024 when it started, I remember the first few days when dad stopped coming to the office, and that's when everyone started approaching us. That I'm having this problem, I'm having that problem, and Rohit and I would face the music for the first half, and during lunchtime we would just sit and really appreciate the hard work dad put in.
Yeah, for sure.
Because
I like the
And
word
the-
music.
yeah, exactly. And you understand the managing director's seat is
Comes with a
it's
responsibility.
it does come with a responsibility. It
Yeah.
looks majestic,
Yeah.
but the heat that is under it,
Yeah.
you truly
The hot
understand
seat.
the
Yeah.
hot seat.
Yeah.
You understand why it's called the hot seat. You understand. I understand why my dad would behave the way he would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, and first few months were just us getting set, and then after that it was a much smoother process.
So 24 has been the best year for
yes
Without a shadow of a
proudly,
doubt.
yeah.
It has been the most historic performance of Adil. And just to give a little bit more context,
Yeah.
the previous year, which was the most historic for us, was 2020.
That's amazing.
Yes.
So any major thing that worked out well?
Again, it was a harmony
Yeah, it was-
of all of
okay.
these.
Yeah.
All of
Things
these
coming
things
to-
coming together.
Yeah.
Okay.
The different aspects. Obviously, the new we had to change a little bit of the management. The new management was much more receptive. They were more willing to help us. They were more likely to see our perspective, which helped a lot.
Okay.
One thing that I will say is that the employees becoming more happier, it's definitely a huge contributor to
Yeah,
this.
there's a huge difference in making someone do something and then the person wanting to do
do
it
it.
too.
Yeah.
Right? They will always, if a person wants to do it, he will put 110%
Definitely.
guarantee.
That's true.
Yeah.
And like on a separate perspectives, how do you envision the future with Aladil? And then we'll come to you envisioning in your own words.
For like our identity is the home of Indian food stuff. So my identity is, we need to also. It's not just India; it's also the new India that we need to focus on. Indian people's tastes are changing; their preferences are changing. So I want to be sure that as a business, we're always receptive and adaptive to those sort of ideas, where there's a culture of innovation now within the company, and that's something that we really really want to protect and grow. And for me personally at least, uh, I will not be happy unless my employees are happy, and I know that's the same worldview that a lot of my family members also have. So yeah, definitely these three things.
Okay.
For me, I genuinely just have fallen in love with Indian culture. Obviously, I was the Diwali, the festivals, and everything did play a role, but the Indian media currently is portraying the true beauty of the
Of
culture,
it.
and I want Adil to celebrate it.
Okay.
It should not. It should. It's obviously at its core, it's going to be a one-stop shop for Indians, but it is also going to be something that celebrates Indian culture. So this is something a little secret that I've been working on. So there is this
You are aware
famous.
of it?
No, no, no. Actually, he might be aware of it like a little
Little
bit,
bit.
little bit. So he thinks it's crazy actually. So
Okay.
there's this. I wouldn't say a street vendor, but he's got like a small stall in
Okay.
India,
Okay.
and he's known to make sandwiches. He's known to make the Bombay sandwiches,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Crazy good Bombay
Okay.
sandwiches. So
You're bringing it
he-
here?
I'm planning to bring
Wow.
it here. And the thing is that, like logically it doesn't make sense. Like, what am I gonna go tell this person, like, hey, come to Dubai and open your stall over there. He's gonna be like, how will I come to Dubai and all that. So
Below that, I'm taking care of.
yeah, I know, but it's
Rishi is
very
there.
hard. It's very hard because people love India.
Yeah.
Like people who live in India love India. They cannot envision themselves coming over here.
So
But
that's your next project then. Then the way you streamline the warehouse, you'll
Yeah.
streamline that tapri.
yeah, yeah,
You're like,
I guess.
this is the process. This is you
Yeah.
have to follow. Now you
Yeah.
can go back. You are the managing director of this tapri.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
That's how you can do it.
That's a very good one. That's a very
You
good one.
set a process over there also.
No, not really. I just want to I just want to I just want to I just want to show how much the Indian culture can shine.
Yeah.
And definitely it's also something so small as like peanuts rolled up in a newspaper.
No, actually, you should bring in Aladil charts.
Yeah.
I'm
We're
sure-
working on.
I'm
we're
sure,
working
like,
on
you have
something.
your space, you have everything. Like, people would again queue up.
You have no idea
Yeah.
how many times we've been.
A lot
yeah.
of plans are in place,
But the compliance is a little difficult.
Yeah.
No, but there's many small things like
Yeah,
this.
yeah, yeah, there
Almost
are.
like you could say like at the night how fireflies are, right?
Mhm,
There is these small bits of light about Indian culture that
Yeah.
I really want to present to the world and show how beautiful our country is.
Yeah. So that's true. So when are we
Yeah.
seeing it very soon?
I hope so. I can show it very soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Once our bearings are right,
Yeah.
you can see it. And I'm telling you for sure, you will see a
It'll
lot
be a
of
sure
major
shot.
changes.
It'll be a, like, as you were saying, like, all the businesses that you have started, your digital commerce is also helping your retail, your
Yeah.
storefronts also, because people are ending in walking in. So, of course, these are going to complement
For sure, for sure.
These are-
Yeah.
Definitely. Because a culture that India has seen overall, like, you go to Calcutta, you go to any Bombay, any of the places, every shopping mall or every shopping plex has a huge chart,
Yeah.
counters and all running
Exactly.
around, and everyone, whether they are buying inside or not, they are buying outside for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
True.
that's true.
That's the thing that's
And
happening.
just so many people, you'll see this very frequently spoken about in India, that dude, the 5-star food cannot compare to
Yeah.
this random pav
Yeah.
bhaji stall.
True,
It cannot.
true,
Yeah, it cannot compare.
I think we agree to that as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
There's a lot in the Aladil supermarkets that we see for all the elder generations. What's in for the younger ones? Because we have often seen kids strolling around, running around with, like, what's there in for me? Why do I go?
Yeah, actually, we've majority of the negative feedback we've gotten released, at least for 2024, has been from children only. It's always been unhappy, and after checking the CCTV footage, we found out that it's a child. So Rohit has actually come up with an innovative idea
Yeah.
to capture their attention.
So you might not have heard of the name, but you've definitely seen their products. There's a company called Spira, which specializes in making elite level water guns. So we've been very, very grateful to be partnered up with them. They have been covered by Mr. Who's the Boss, by Mr. Beast. They have gone viral too many times to count on TikTok, YouTube Shorts, and Instagram. If you do see the item, I'm sure that anyone will recognize it immediately. So we're very happy to partner up with them. They have their showcase product, which we're very happy to get. It has a reach of 34 feet and 7 inches.
Wow.
So it is only for.
I see the excitement in you.
So I want to use it myself.
Yeah.
So it is only for teenagers, but they also have water guns for the 8+ years old as well, which is a much weaker version of the gun, but
And a
it's
safer
still
alternative.
and a safer alternative. They also have unique products, which is the reusable water balloons.
Wow.
So,
So you can reuse a balloon.
yeah, so you just fill it up with water, and once it explodes on the
It's a
poor
grenade
guy.
launcher.
So,
So you're keeping
the-
safety in mind.
keeping
Yeah.
safety in
Yeah.
mind. We don't want to hurt anyone, So I'm sure that kids will definitely love these products, and to be honest, adults will too. Definitely give it a shot. We are expecting it to come in late Feb. So once it is, we'll be definitely to let everyone know. Al Adil is the only supermarket in the UAE to have this product.
So it's
It is not-
exclusive to you.
It is exclusive to us, and it is not available anywhere else.
Wow. So we have a holy gift now.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
This Holi will be much more colorful.
Yeah.
Much
and much
more
more
so.
powerful.
Much more powerful.
With
It's
your
gonna pack
guns.
a punch. Yeah.
Yes.
Any quote of your dad that you abide to?
Uh, there's so many quotes.
Yeah,
he
yes.
mostly just yells a lot. But what
So
would
let's
be a
take
good
one
quote?
of the yelling as a quote. Kaam kar.
I'm
Is-
actually thinking.
Is
For
it
me-
done?
You know, for me, Oh,
For
sorry,
me
yeah.
personally, I don't really have a quote as
Yeah.
such. I just, saw
or
his
maybe
actions.
something he said that got stuck.
I mean, okay,
There was
there's
that-
one major philosophy that he has drilled into our skulls.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll just mention that.
And
A
you can't agree
customer
to
is
it.
my god.
That's what
Yeah.
I was
Yeah,
gonna say.
I was just
That's
telling
what
you,
I
you
was
can't
just gonna
copy
say
that.
You
I
know?
was just gonna say that, and it.
You started the interview with that.
Yeah.
Al Adil's philosophy of customer is God.
Yeah.
That's true. Atithi Deva Bhava.
Yeah,
You know,
we have
so
been
it's-
ever taught.
Yeah. So I also agree
And
with
he's a
Rohit.
zealot about, like, he genuinely believes this in his heart and soul.
So do I.
And
Yeah.
so do we,
I.
of course.
So do I.
So
Rohit
what
too.
message do you have for new gen entrepreneurs?
Our experience was very unique as entrepreneurs. For us, we were in a very incubated environment. We were treated harshly, but in the end, we knew we were safe.
Yeah.
For entrepreneurs, I think it's unfair a little bit for us to give advice to them, is because we always had a safety net.
Yeah.
Right? Whenever you're thinking about an entrepreneur, it's about risk.
It's basically you guys are architects of legacy, right? You are the next generation who is gonna handle everything out. So what's your say on that? Anyone who is in, because in India, not in India, in UAE specifically, there's so many of them who are entering into the next gen business. The legacy is getting passed on. So what's your
There has to be harmony. There has to be harmony. The new generation will disagree with a lot of older generation people, and vice versa as well. Both of them think one idea is outdated, the other idea is stupid. But you need to listen to all perspectives, and this isn't just for new gen. Obviously, it applies to the old generation as well. My mom was very receptive to my ideas. My dad might not have been, but I knew that there's something here. So having that confidence, and especially having it in a family business, is crucial.
True.
correct. How do you see UAE as a place for doing business?
I love
The
it.
best.
I
yeah.
swear, I genuinely mean it.
And Dubai also has very robust systems, in place. So even if there's, government is taking some objection on, like, let's say something is dirty in the store, he will give you an opportunity to correct it, and he'll give you a lot of time to correct it. So if you fail for any reason, it's because it's on you.
Yeah.
You know, it's not because there was some unrealistic demand that was given or something.
Yeah. Totally
Amazing.
agree. Totally
Yeah.
agree.
Great.
Right?
Yeah.
Thank
we
you.
are done with your questions.
Wow,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you
It
so
went
much.
very fast.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Time flew.
It was fun.
It was fun. It
Yeah.
was very fun. You did a good job.
Yeah, you
Thank
really
you.
did.
Good
you
job.
really
Thank
did.
you.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.